Hello there, it's Swolbi on Kenobi, and after an eternity or two, I'm finally back for another Nuzlocke challenge. After the horrible experience that was the Sinnoh region, I can confidently say that I'm tired of fighting types, and I am most definitely sick of shiny Pokemon. Though that's definitely not because I'm salty or anything. So I figured that since it's been so thoroughly proven just how amazing fighting types are, I'd pull a 180 and do a monolock challenge that has never been completed in a vanilla Pokemon White run, the Dark-type monolock. While there are a few runs out there that allow the full scope of the encounters available in the game, to my knowledge, nobody has ever done a Pokemon White Nuzlocke only using the 5 Dark-type Pokemon available to the player through normal play methods in the Unova region. Pokemon Black allows an extra encounter, and that run has been completed. So I figured I'd make up for past misdeeds with a bit of an extra challenge. Here are the hardcore Nuzlocke rules that I work with, and with that, it's time to start up the run. I'm more than happy to once again take up my name of Swolbi, and I make fairly quick work of Cheren and Bianca starters with my own temporary Pokemon. We make our way to the first city after our hometown, and there appears to be some kind of demonstration happening in the main quarter. Seems to be another familiar scenario playing out in Unova as well. After the man finishes talking, a strange boy named N approaches me and tries to call me out for being a Dark-type poser. I mean, he's not wrong, fighting types all the way, but I haven't gotten my encounter yet, alright? Speaking of which, on the next route, it's time for my only encounter that I'll be allowed for the first 3 gyms, and the single biggest reason that this run is such a ridiculous headache. A Purloin that I catch and name Scar. Scar has the plus attack and minus defense lonely nature, and a long road ahead of him before he's ready for any kind of battle. So with about an hour of grinding level 2 Patrats and Lillipups, it's time to face off against Bianca. Okay, but after a reset and a second neutral docile nature Scar is acquired, this Scar is able to fight through both Bianca's team and Cheren's team in the trainer school. Now we're getting some... So with the run reset, it's time for attempt number, 74! This time around, I'm finally blessed with the best possible outcome, a Purloin with the adamant nature, plus attack and minus special attack. And I literally max out this Scar's EV yield before I fight Bianca. Gen 5 experience mechanics are pretty exploitable. And now, I'm ready. Bianca, taken care of. Cheren, demolished. That smug trainer with his bide Patrat hasn't been an issue since Run 2. But now, it's time to see if Scar can make it through the first gym battle. Because I chose Snivy as my starter to give Cheren the fighting type Embor later on, I get to go against Chili, the fire type brother. I lead in with my standalone starter Scar, as he starts off with a Lillipup. On the first turn, Scar misses his Fury Swipe, as Lillipup goes for a soft bite. Scar then misses his second Fury Swipe as well, allowing Lillipup to get off a free workup. Not looking good. Scar finally connects with his third Fury Swipe attack, hitting 2 times, as Lillipup uses a second workup. Scar is able to connect with his 4th use of Fury Swipes, still hitting twice, as Lillipup hits hard with a resisted +2 bite, leaving Scar with just over half of his HP remaining. A final Fury Swipe puts the pooch down with another 2-hit connection, and then it's time for Chili's ace, Pansear. On the monkey's first turn out, Scar connects with the Fury Swipes that hits twice, as Chili has his Pokemon use another workup. Scar finally hits a Fury Swipe with some power behind it, getting a critical hit on the second connection and scoring 3 hits in total, before Pansear can use a second workup. Chili goes for a potion to heal on the following turn, allowing Scar to hit another Fury Swipe, my starter pulling through and connecting 4 times. With the range assured, I use Scratch to make sure that I can't miss, and with that, Scar has earned us our first gym badge. Prior to Run 74, Chili was able to beat Scar 8 times. I head over to the Team Plasma Gruntsies to the city to help out Bianca, before heading back west to face off against Cheren in the next rival battle. I, of course, start off with Scar, as he leads in with his own starter, Tepig. On the first turn, Scar misses his Fury Swipes, letting Tepig get off an Ember for free, but fortunately, no burn. On the following turn, Scar connects with his Fury Swipe, landing 3 hits and activating Tepig's Oran Berry, before getting hit with a Tail Whip. Scar is then able to do decent damage with his new Stab Pursuit, before Cheren wastes his turn going for Odor Sleuth, allowing Scar to grab the KO on Tepig the following turn. Last out for Cheren is his own Purloin, who takes more than half of his health on Scar's first scratch, before an assist lets the cat strike back with an Ember for low damage, letting Scar nab the victory with a final scratch. I've lost here once prior. With the first actually threatening rival fight taken care of, please ignore the fact that I actually lost to Bianca in that first run, it's time to make my way to Nakreen City for the second gym badge. But before I can even get to said gym battle, I'm first approached again by the strange green-haired boy called M. He asks me about Pokemon, their feelings, and challenges me to a battle. I haven't evolved Scar yet, because if I did, he would likely overshoot the next level cap, so here we go. I've still only got Scar on my side as N starts off with his Pidove. On the first turn, Pidove does chip damage with a quick attack, before Scar is able to do more than half with a pursuit. A second quick attack almost brings Scar to half, as a second pursuit finishes off the pigeon Pokemon. Out second for In is the Stuff of Nightmares, a Timber with stab fighting type moves. A scratch on the first turn does about a third, as In has his Pokemon set up a Focus Energy. A second scratch leaves Timber in range to one more, as he hits hard with a low kick. I'm extremely fortunate that low kick is such a low damaging move to Scar, as our boy pulls through with 11 HP remaining, coming back up right below half with his Oranberry. From here, it's a scratch to finish off Timber, leaving In with his final Pokemon, Tympole. A pursuit does 2/3 of the Tadpole's health, before a Bubble Beam leaves Scar with only 9 HP remaining. But, with everything said and done, Scar is able to outspeed and end the battle with one final pursuit. Before this run, I lost to In here once. Before heading in for the fight, it's time for Scar to evolve into his final form, a slightly more viable Liepard. Fortunately, the Rock Smash TM is nearby, and Scar can learn it, or this fight would be a gross amount of RNG. As it is, it's still no cakewalk. So with my preparation set, it's time for the second gym battle with the normal type gym leader, Lenora. I lead off with the old has to be reliable, as Lenora starts off with her Intimidate Herdier. On the first turn, Scar hits a Rock Smash that gets a critical hit, bypassing the attack drop and getting the KO in a single hit. Absolutely amazing. But out second for Lenora is her Watchdog, who is just as capable of a critical hit one-hit KO with her Stab Retaliate. I have Scar go for a Rock Smash that does slightly less than half, but gets a defense drop. It all comes down to this. Lenora has her Watchdog. Go for Leer. She absolutely wastes her high damage Retaliate turn, possibly not seeing a KO damage roll without the critical hit. This allows Scar to nail a second Rock Smash on the following turn that gets yet another defense drop, as Lenora goes for a Hail Mary Hypnosis. And while she is lucky enough to get the connection, she's unlucky that I've got 12 losses to her in these attempts, and Scar is more than prepared with his held Chesto Berry. So as Lenora heals Watchdog back near full with a Super Potion, Scar is able to capitalize on the 2 defense drops to knock Watchdog down to a third of his health, getting an unnecessary third defense drop. And then with one final Rock Smash, the second gym leader is taken care of, and Scar has proven to be the single best Liepard in existence with a hitless gym sweep. With Nakreen City taken care of, it's time for Team Plasma to lead me through a game of Follow the Leader through the Pinwheel Forest, which is a bullshit name if you ask me. There isn't a single pinwheel here. I can find more pinwheels in the Tomb of the Giants. What I do find is Scar's single greatest level up asset of the run, Fake Out. Out of the forest and into the desert, where I'm finally able to pick up my second encounter of the run. One of 2, either a Scraggy or a Sandile. My luck grants me the Scraggy first, a female that I name Yzma. Yzma has the neutral Bastful nature, not bad, but she has Shed Skin, which was definitely not what I was hoping for. Between Scraggy and Sandile, the best possible outcome was a Scraggy with Moxie and a Sandile with Intimidate, and the worst possible outcome would be Shedskin Scraggy and Moxie Sandile. Moxie would still be useful on a future Crocodile, don't get me wrong, but as of yet, I literally haven't gotten a run far enough to grant me that fabled red sweeper. And Sandile and Crocorock are just so freaking squishy it's unbearable. My side note of lamentation put behind us, Scraggy is EV trained up and ready to rumble, so I head back to Castelia City to help Bianca get her Pokemon back from Team Plasma. Oh hey, I could have given myself the gifted Zorua here. Man, how much easier of a run that would have been. I grab the Eviolite, which is damn near essential for the run, and I take my duo in to face off against the third gym leader of the run, the Bug-type specialist Berg. I lead off with Yzma, as Berg sends in his Whirlipede. I'm graced with the Scraggy that actually outspeeds this particular Whirlipede. It has not been consistent, as Yzma gets a payback off before taking a Screech in return. Confident that Yzma can survive even a crit Poison Tail with her Eviolite, she goes for a second payback, as Berg gets greedy and uses a second Screech. Knowing that Berg will heal, I have Yzma use Headbutt for good chip damage before hard swapping to Scar on the next turn, who tanks the Poison Tail quite well. Scar gets the guaranteed Fake Out flinch before finishing Berg's first Pokemon in the next turn with a Pursuit. Out second for the Bug Gym Leader is his Dwebble, who I have Scar hit with the neutral Rock Smash, fishing for the defense drop, as Dwebble only lowers Scar's accuracy with the Sand Attack. A second Rock Smash still manages to connect, as Dwebble uses a second Sand Attack. So, still having high HP, I have Scar risk a third, still managing to hit, and finally getting a defense drop, as Berg finally hits Scar, going for a soft Struggle Bug. Here I swap into Yzma, who I need on the field before Berg's ace, as Berg goes for an unexpected heal. I didn't think I'd hit Dwebble low enough for the free swap. I have Yzma capitalize on Dwebble's defense drop with a Brick Break that almost brings the Crustacean down to a sturdy, as he hits Yzma with a soft Struggle Bug. With both of Berg's heals used, Yzma takes the KO with a headbutt, leaving the gym leader with only his ace, Leavanny. Yzma outspeeds Berg's Leavanny, my first real hint that Yzma is rocking a near-perfect speed IV, and gets a flinch with a headbutt. A second headbutt brings the Leafy Bug to the yellow, as he hits Yzma hard with a Razor Leaf that does a third. A third headbutt manages to get a second flinch, meaning Yzma can take the Razor Leaf on the following turn to hit back with a full-powered stab payback, winning the battle and granting me my third gym badge. Berg was able to send me back to the start 3 times. From here, I battle both Bianca and Charon, but neither battle is particularly difficult or risky, and the only time I had to reset a run to either was when I lost to Bianca after losing a Sandile to Berg back in run 41. But with Yzma and Scar standing strong, they're able to make quick work of the duo without any issue, allowing me to make my way forward to the desert resort to grab my third encounter, a Sandile. This particular Sandile is a lady that I named Madame Medusa, who has a neutral docile nature, and who spells a bit of trouble for the foreseeable future as she has Moxie instead of Intimidate. The trouble here is that while a Crocodile with Moxie is a beast of legend, a Sandile or Crocorock are at risk of tripping to death before they can actually get a single Moxie boost to begin with, meaning that for the entirety of the run that I've been able to reach so far, Moxie has been mostly useless unless I can guarantee a win in any and all speed-reliant matchups. You'll see pretty quickly all the locations where having Intimidate would have been immensely preferred. To start with, I somehow end up on a Ferris wheel date with N, who just starts admitting stuff I don't know him nearly well enough to talk about. If you're the type of person to infobomb people you're just meeting, this is your sign to take it a little slower. He seems offended by my disinterest, but he challenges me to a Pokemon battle regardless. N starts the battle off with a Moxie Sandile of his own, as I send in Yzma. Yzma gets off a workup on turn 1, as Sandile uses Embargo, preventing Yzma from using any items. I'm genuinely unsure if this actually removes the Eviolite buff. But with the attack boost, it's too late for that to matter, as Yzma gets the one-shot on Sandile with a Brick Break, a one-shot on N's own Scraggy with the second Brick Break, a one-shot payback on N's Siglif after Yzma avoids the one-shot critical hit from Air Cutter, and a one-shot KO on N's Darunaka, with the final Brick Break from Yzma. A much better outcome than the 2 times N sent me back to the start. With N taken care of and the roller coaster of a gym navigated, I find myself at the gym leader/fashion model, Elisa, the electric-type specialist. I start the battle off with Scar, as Elisa leads in with her first Emolga. I have Scar set up a Home Claws on the first turn, as Emolga uses a Volt Switch, swapping in to Elisa's second Emolga. With the +1, a full power return from Scar is enough to one-shot Elisa's Emolga, prompting her to send in the first, who goes down in a similar fashion. Outlast for Elisa is her ace, Zebstrika, who manages to survive the first return on a sliver of health, before striking back with a Flame Charge that does a huge bit of damage on a critical hit, and gets a speed boost. I choose to stay in as Elisa goes for her Hyper Potion, and this time, Scar's return gets a higher damage roll, finishing off the gym leader's Pokemon and granting us the 4th gym badge. Elisa has finished my team off 4 times prior to this, and every time has been an occasion where I had a Moxie Sandile. Intimidate really trivializes this fight, when it also neutralizes Elisa's ability to swap her Pokemon out with Volt Switch. But with the gym leader taken care of, we only have more troubles on the horizon, as our next challenge is Clay, the ground-type gym leader of Driftvale City. I mean, I guess Charon is here too, but at this point he's still rocking some unevolved Pokemon that don't do too well against a fully EV-trained team. Though he did beat me here in an early run 15 that made it further than anticipated after I lost my team except for Sandile. That poor lad didn't stand a chance. But fortunately, the whole squad is alive and kicking this time around, meaning it's quick work for Charon and then on to the fridge exploration. The gauntlet of Team Plasma Grunts isn't difficult when you've got an Eviolite Yzma, and it's even less difficult when said Eviolite Yzma happens to have Moxie, but she does well enough this time around with what she's got. Though what isn't doing well here is my capture file, as OBS decided to attempt to keep recording through a lack of storage space instead of alerting me and turning off. Though I have also learned that I was recording in a much higher resolution than was necessary, and that heavily contributed to exacerbating the issue, so we get a bit of a PowerPoint presentation for a bit instead of a proper video. But don't worry, I still have the play-by-play. So with Mad Medusa evolved into her middle stage of Crocorock, and without Intimidate to use for an easy setup on Clay's Crocorock, it's time to give Moxie a chance to shine. What you are currently watching is the unedited footage of me walking down to Clay's gym room. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So, I start off the fight with Scar as Clay sends in his Intimidate Crocorock. On the first turn, Scar is able to get a critical hit fake out, doing far more chip damage than I was hoping for, and putting Crocorock well within range of my plan. So on the following turn, I have Scar use Torment, to ensure that Crocorock can't use the same move twice, as the gym leader has his Pokemon reduce Scar's speed with Bulldoze. That's my cue. Since Bulldoze is now off the table, I hard swap into Madame Medusa on the following turn, as Clay does exactly what I was hoping for. Goes for a Swagger. Madame Medusa greedily gobbles up both the +2 to her attack and her Persim Berry that she had been holding onto. From here, Madame Medusa is able to hit Krokorok hard with a return, getting a KO in her first Moxie boost, putting her at +3 attack. In addition to this, she levels up to level 32, granting her an added booster attack and speed, before Clays sends in his second Pokemon, Palpitoad. Palpitoad is easily outsped and destroyed with a +3 crunch, getting Madame Medusa her second KO and her second Moxie boost. Outlast for the ground-type gym leader is his ace, Excadrill, but at this point, the only thing that could end Madame Medusa's reign of terror would be a critical hit Bulldoze. But she outspeeds and avoids any damage, and with that, she's able to one-hit KO Excadrill with the Sand Tome of all things. What a debut. I've gotten past Clay before this attempt, the Mad Lad only being in second place for gym leader deaths at 9 behind Lenora's 12, but the man is always an all or nothing. Either everyone on the team makes it, or it's a full wipe. So it's always nice when the plan actually works. From here, it's another rival battle against Bianca, though this is another case of having a few levels of advantage and a nice plan ahead of time, before the excursion through Chargestone Cave. The end battle in Chargestone Cave may be the easiest of his encounters, or at least it feels that way when you've got such a fantastic counter to most all of his team in Eviolite Yzma, who's still packing quite a punch despite being the only one on the team without an evolution yet. I make my way through Mistraighten City and find the Celestial Tower, but for a team of dark types, the ghost area is not really a big deal. So with Skylar returned to her gym, it's time to battle for my 6th gym badge. At this point, the storage space was exceedingly low, so everything you're witnessing is not only the raw footage, but it's sped up to twice the original speed. This battle's actually already started. I lead off the battle with Scar, as Skyla sent in her Swoobat. On the first turn, I have Scar go for a Fake Out, which does a good bit of chip damage, before setting up a Torment on the following turn so that I can ensure an assurance on my swap. But Skyla uses her first non-flinch turn for an Amnesia. So I hit a quad-resisted Rock Smash on the following turn, as Swoobat finally goes for Acrobatics, hitting Scar below half. But now that Swoobat has to hit with an Assurance, I swap into Madame Medusa, as Skyla has Swoobat set up a second Amnesia. With the free KO given to Madame Medusa in her crunch, she's set with her first Moxie boost, as Skyla sends in her second Pokemon, Swanna. Madame Medusa hits Swanna hard with her boosted crunch, as the gym leader throws away her chance to end the threat at the root, deciding to set up an Aqua Ring instead of going for a KO attempt with Bubble Beam. With the free turn of damage given, I'm able to keep Madame Medusa in instead of swapping out, so she finishes Swanna with the second crunch and gets her second Moxie boost. Skyla's last Pokemon is her Unpheasant, which hits a soft quick attack before being one-shot by Madame Medusa's final crunch. A much better performance than the 5 times that she sent me back to the beginning. With Skyla taken care of and my 6th badge attained, it's time for the single greatest wall of this run. The Twisted Mountain. I mean, yeah, sure, Charon is here too, I guess, but in all the runs, he still hasn't managed to take out a single Pokemon here, much less wipe the team. But Twisted Mountain? 21 resets. I've been sent back to the start by this mountain 21 times. And of those 21 times, 19 of them have been to this singular battle girl with her ridiculously bulky Throw of Doom. To the point where I don't even try fighting her. If she sees me, the run is essentially over. I make it past after a tense timing bit, but unfortunately you guys are still stuck with the PowerPoint, so that was probably not as tense as it was for me. But I assure you, I was sweating. With Twist Mountain navigated, I'm able to evolve Yzma to a Scrafty, which has yet to fail at trivializing Bryson and his Ice-type team of the Icarus City Gym, this time being no different. Fortunately, at this time I hit my first true wall in the DS3 storage saga, and a wipe of my system's unneeded footage from that run increased my laptop's ability to function dramatically, meaning that after I witness and awaken a legendary Pokemon at the top of Dragon Spiral Tower, I finally get back to clean and crisp footage. All the better to point out my misplays with. The nearest being the next rival battle with Bianca. Bianca has sent me back to the start of this battle 3 times so far, and I don't know if you've been keeping track at home, but that brings us to run number 74, or this run. If I can get past Bianca, everything from that point on is a first attempt. Here we go. I start the battle off with my tried and true starter Scar, as she leads in with her Intimidate Stoutland. On the first turn, Scar hits a critical hit Fake Out, doing a great bit of chip damage before landing a Torment on the following turn, as Bianca has Stoutland go for a workup. My hope was that she would use her first move to go for a Retaliate, as Torment would ensure that she went for a workup on the following turn, which I could have prevented with the following Taunt. But now that she's got her attack boosted, I can't keep Scar in without a guaranteed one-hit KO from Retaliate, so I hard swap into Yzma, who takes the predicted Retaliate fairly well, also causing chip damage with her new and extremely important Rocky Helmet. Stoutland is now in range of a KO with Brick Break, but I have to look ahead at her following options. On one hand, if Semi-Seer comes out, I can set up a workup at the risk of a burn. But if Samurott comes out, Yzma won't be able to take the Water-type starter Pokemon even with the high jump kick, even if she does survive Samurott's priority Aqua Jet. That's why I risk using Torment before Taunt. If I used Taunt and Stoutland used Retaliate on turn 2 instead of Workup, Scar would have been required to take a second hit just to set up Torment, costing me my starter and my Fake Out use. So with that necessary crit risk yielding plan B, it's now time to set up a Workup against Stoutland, who can only use a quad-resisted Crunch. As predicted, Bianca sends in her Samurott. Yzma wouldn't even outspeed with her EV training, much less Samurott's stab rain-boosted priority Aqua Jet, and that's why I couldn't let Stoutland hit Yzma with 2 Retaliates. Unfortunately for the AI, if it sees a survivable roll on a damaging move, it quite often prefers a more damaging move or a debuff instead. So feeling confident that Samurott won't go for the Aqua Jet, I risk it all on the only move Yzma has a hope of one-shotting the Samurott Otter Pokemon with, her now +1 high jump kick. And because Samurott's only higher damage roll than Aqua Jet is Revenge, she gives herself minus priority, as Yzma pulls through, landing the high jump kick and getting the one-hit KO. Out third for Bianca is her Semi-Seer, who uses a weak Flame Burst that does lower damage in the rain, before going down to a single Crunch. Out last for Bianca is her Musharna, who doesn't even have a move that could hit Yzma, so a Crunch finishes the battle and officially marks this run as the furthest attempt yet. Getsus approaches me on the Tumbline Bridge to do his villain monologue thing, and I just resist the urge to go off about knowing far better than anyone possibly could that it doesn't matter how well things are going, not even if you've been winning for thousands upon thousands of lifetimes, eventually someone shows up, even if they detoured, to make sure their team was nothing but shiny Pokemon to put a stop to it. But I can the rant and move on to Opelucid City, the home of the 8th and final gym badge, before turning around to pick up my 4th encounter of the run, and my first ever in 74 attempts. A Pawniard who I named Captain Hook. Hook is the jolly nature, plus speed and minus special attack, which is just about as good as I could have hoped for. I get Hook EV trained before giving him the experience share, and start clearing out the 8 gym's trainers. This is one of those gyms that makes sure that you fight every single trainer. That or I just can't solve puzzles made for 8-year-olds. But either way, after carefully navigating my way through the dragon-filled room, I make my way to yet another big threat to the continuation of this run. Gym Leader Iris, the Dragon Master. So with the team set, and Madame Medusa still in her second stage evolution for necessary Elite Four prep, we start the battle. I lead off with Scar as Iris sends in her Fracture. I get my guaranteed Fake Out chip before a Night Slash on the following turn puts Fracture in the red, before Iris has her lead Pokemon set up a Dragon Dance. Iris goes for her first Hyper Potion as a Night Slash from Scar lands a critical hit and gets the KO from full health. This has all worked out extremely well for me, as now Scar is still at full health for Iris' second Pokemon, Druddigon. I risk a Misc and go for Toxic, but it lands as Druddigon hits Scar with the resisted Night Slash. But it crits, doing almost half of Scar's HP. I was hoping he was going to use a Dragon Tail, which would have been a KO if it had crit, but would have guaranteed a freed swap into any other Pokemon. With no choice but to swap out to try to get Scar through the battle, I switch out to Yzma, and then she takes the Dragon Tail I've been hoping for with Scar. This causes Druddigon to take Rocky Helmet Chip from Yzma, and it also brings Scar back into the battle, who gets a free turn of Fake Out. I don't want to swap into yet another Dragon Tail, but after poison damage, Druddigon is in range, and a Night Slash from Scar gets the knockout. Out last for Iris is her ace, Haxorus. It's a risky play, as Iris could see the knockout with multiple moves, but I have never seen her pass up on the opportunity to set up a sweep if the opponent doesn't have a move that can KO in one hit, so Scar uses Taunt, which prevents Haxorus from setting up a Dragon Dance. On the following turn, I swap back into Yzma, who tanks another Dragon Tail, once again causing Rocky Helmet Chip, and once again pivoting back into Scar. Scar happily takes one last free turn of Fake Out damage before Taunt wears off. I assume that Iris will once again try to set up her Dragon Dance, and fortunately, I don't make an ass of you or me, and Scar prevents yet another Dragon Dance attempt. Unfortunately for Scar, I need a bit of damage that won't cause Iris to heal, and his only applicable move is Toxic. A Dragon Tail from Haxorus will likely kill Scar at this range, and Yzma can't take another one and live. Madame Medusa would likely live, but she would still be swapped out into someone else, leaving me right back in the position of needing a bit of damage without causing a heal. So Scar goes for the Toxic, and blesses the team with his parting gift. Wait, that's a Slash. Wait, Scar lived! I know that the move is going to be random between Slash, Dragon Tail, and Revenge. Only one of those can instantly kill Hook, and on the following turn, Haxorus should be baited into using Dragon Dance when the taunt lifts, giving me a free shift back to Scar for a final Fake Out. So I risk it. I swap into Hook, who does take a Dragon Tail on the swap, which brings Madame Medusa into the battle. I'm not certain that a Bulldoze will KO, and I'm still worried that Madame Medusa's abysmal defensive stat's gonna get her killed. So while she's able to, I have her go for a Dig to grant an extra turn of Toxic, while Haxorus goes for a Dragon Dance back above ground. With that, Madame Medusa launches her attack from below, winning us the battle and our 8th gym badge. The badge now acquired, the final level cap before the Elite Four is now raised to 50, meaning that Madame Medusa can hit level 48 as a Croc Rock to get access to Earthquake, and finally evolve into her full potential of Crocodile. Before arriving at Victory Road in my final encounter who's waiting for me there, it's time for one last battle against Charon. He leads the battle with his Unpheasant, as I have Madame Medusa appear for her Crocodile debut, and a bit of a teaser for the upcoming Elite Four. On the first turn, I use a Foul Play, which I had forgotten uses the enemy's attack stat and not my own, which brings Unpheasant down to below half, before Charon just sets up a Razor Wind that he doesn't get to capitalize on when Madame Medusa finishes off his regional burn the next turn with another Foul Play, giving her her first Moxie boost. Out second for Charon is a Semi-Sage, and now that I've remembered how Foul Play works, I hit the Grass Monkey with the full power return, which grants Madame Medusa the one-hit KO and a second Moxie boost. Out third for my rival is his Imbor, who never quite got the chance to be a dangerous threat, going down to a single newly learned Earthquake, giving Madame Medusa her third Moxie boost, and leaving Charon's Lipard, who doesn't even know Fake Out, to take a second Earthquake on the following turn, marking Madame Medusa's inaugural battle as the team sweeper. With the only thing left standing between me and my Elite Four challenge being Victory Road, I make quick work of the winding caverns and caves, finding the final encounter I'll have available before the Elite Four, a dino that I name Maleficent. Being the sassy, raised special defense and lowered speed nature, I quickly get her to the only evolution available to her before the Elite Four gauntlet, and my team is ready. The 5 brave souls who stand with me are as follows. Madame Medusa the Crocodile, who has Moxie and is holding the Soft Sand, Black Glasses, or the Dragon Fang, and who has the moveset of Dragon Claw, Sandstorm, Earthquake, and Crunch. Mid-Elite Four, some TMs that she'll trade out with include Torment and Taunt. Scar the Lipard, with Unburden, holding a Bright Powder, and who has the moveset of Fake Out, Night Slash, Toxic, and Taunt, and she'll be getting Protect midway through the Elite Four. Yzma the Scrafty, with Shedskin, and who's holding the Rocky Helmet, and who has a moveset of Brick Break, Crunch, Dragon Claw, and High Jump Kick. She'll be getting Toxic and Protect midway through the Elite Four. Captain Hook the Poniard, with Inner Focus, holding the Experience Share, and who has the moveset of Night Slash, Assurance, Metal Claw, and Iron Defense. He'll also receive Technical Machine moves mid-Elite Four, as well as hopefully evolving and learning level-up moves. Finally, I have Maleficent the Zweilous, with Hustle, holding the Eviolite, and having a moveset of Crunch, Slam, Dragon Pulse, and Workup. Maleficent will also receive Toxic and Protect mid-Elite Four. But now with the team ready, I make my way into the chamber housing the Elite Four. I immediately forget to swap out Mad Medusa's Soft Sand for her Black Glasses as I head into the room of the Psychic-type Elite Four member, Caitlyn. Unfortunately for her, it doesn't really matter, as Madame Medusa is the perfect counter to her whole team, and a Crunch on the first turn sets the tone of the Moxie-boosted sweep to come, not one of her Pokemon being able to resist the Dark-type onslaught. With Caitlyn taken care of, it's off to the Ghost-type Elite Four member, Chantal. I lead this fight off with Scar, as I don't want Madame Medusa to lose Moxie to Chantal's Cofagrigus, and I don't want her getting hit with Toxic or Will-O-Wisp either. On the first turn, I read Chantal perfectly, Scar's taunt preventing Cofagrigus' incoming burn. Scar misses 2 Toxic attempts, taking a fairly hard Shadow Ball each time before the taunt wears off, and I need another one to ensure a safe switch. Cofagrigus actually didn't end up going for a status move, and a 3rd Shadow Ball hits Scar, and if that had been a crit, he would have been done for. I swap out to Madame Medusa on the next turn, who takes a Shadow Ball for a 5th of her health, before hitting back hard with her Stab Soft Sand boosted Earthquake, a move that prevents contact from removing Moxie, as Cofagrigus hits another Shadow Ball for another 5th of Medusa's HP. A second Earthquake finishes off the Floating Coffin, and grants Madame Medusa her Moxie boost, all but ending the fight. Jellicent is out next, and a +1 Crunch easily finishes the Jellyfish Pokemon off, and Medusa is even lucky enough not to proc Cursed Body, allowing her to keep her Crunch for the next Mon out, Golurk. A +2 Earthquake was a roll to KO, but the guaranteed KO with the +2 Crunch takes out the Ghostly Ground-type Pokemon, leaving Madame Medusa to finish off Chantal's Ace Chandelure with one final Crunch. In addition to beating Chantal, the past 2 fights have given Captain Hook enough experience to get to level 52, where he's able to evolve into a Bisharp, adding an extra layer of defense and power to our team. With 2 down, only 2 remain, and it's on to Grimsley, the Dark-type mirror match of the Elite Four. Unfortunately, I have to risk a critical hit from Brick Break on the first turn, as nobody on my team would survive a swap and finish off Grimsley's Scrafty after Scar's Fake Out. So it's up to Madame Medusa to dodge the crit and finish off the Fighting-type threat in 2 Earthquakes, which she's able to clutch up and do. Thankfully, out second for Grimsley is his Bisharp, which allows Madame Medusa to get a second Moxie boost with the super effective Earthquake before he sends in his own Intimidate Crocodile. Too little too late for Grimsley, as a +1 Soft Sand Stab Earthquake is more than enough to finish off the squishy Crocodile. This leaves Grimsley with his final Pokemon, a Life Part, who makes a last-ditch effort fake-out that doesn't quite do enough to end Madame Medusa's reign of terror. Alright, the 3 easy ones are out of the way. Now it's time for not only the biggest challenge of the Elite Four, but quite possibly the most dangerous trainer of the run, Marshall, the fighting type expert. I start the battle with Scar, as Marshall starts off with his throw. On the first turn, a fake-out causes a flinch, before I hard swap from Scar to Yzma, who I'm expecting to take a bulldoze on the switch. But this doesn't happen. Throw uses a Storm Throw, which is a guaranteed crit move, and leaves Yzma in the yellow with barely a third of her health. My plan has gone up in smoke. The goal was for Yzma to take 2 hits, 1 bulldoze and 1 Storm Throw, which she would have survived in the red, causing 2 turns of Rocky Helmet chip. But now I have to improvise. I swap from Yzma to Scar, and now Throw uses bulldoze, which Scar survives comfortably with the speed drop. Scar gets off a second fake-out, but at this point I can't help but feel like Throw's move selection is completely random. A Protect reveals an attempted bulldoze, and with no guarantee that it's going to come, I go ahead and I risk a second Protect. Scar manages to pull through, succeeding in the double Protect, and revealing that it is definitely bulldoze on the AI's mind. So I have Scar go for a Night Slash on the following turn. And it is indeed another bulldoze. With a double speed drop on Scar, I'm now 100% certain that it's safe to swap Madame Medusa into an oncoming Storm Throw, and not a bulldoze. If she gets a speed drop, she will be unable to outspeed and safely take out Marshall's Mind Shell. I swap out for Medusa, and it's the Storm Throw. From here, Medusa is able to finish off Throw with an Earthquake, granting her a Moxie boost, and because both Conch Elder and Mind Shell have moves that show higher damage output rolls than Sock, the Sturdy-laden Pokemon is almost guaranteed to come out last. My prediction comes true, and Medusa is able to Earthquake Conch Elder and Mind Shell in a single hit each, leaving Marshall with his final Pokemon, a Sock with Sturdy. I hard swap from Medusa into Maleficent, who handily tanks a Karate Chop with her given Eviolite, and she even survives a second one before hitting back hard with a Dragon Pulse that would have gotten a KO if not for Sturdy. I know Marshall is going to use his turn to heal, so with no other options, it's time for Scar to come back into the field, to finally fulfill his great sacrifice. Scar hits Sock with one last fake out, and on the following turn, a bit of Night Slash damage, before a Karate Chop hits my starter, and he is no more. Madame Medusa is free to come in and finish up the Elite Four with one final Earthquake, but everyone on the team is feeling that loss. Scar wasn't just the oldest member of my team. He was more than a friend. He was the rock that made this run possible. An adamant purloin with a chip on his shoulder, a goal to prove, and nothing but love in his heart. I approach the champion of the Elite Four, only to find that Alder has lost. In has defeated the Unova champion, and threatens a dynamic shift to the order of the entire world. A dramatic scene change occurs as the Team Plasma Castle descends upon the champion's battleground, and I'm faced with the full might of Team Plasma. Team Plasma, however, didn't get the memo. This is Gen 5, and the gym leaders here, they're American. I traverse In's castle, and I make my way before the brainwashed youth, more pity in my heart than contempt. But before I can face him, I'm called upon my own dragon of legend, that Madame Medusa proceeds to take apart in a single hit. So I'd read that if you didn't have any Pokeballs on you for this encounter, it would let you defeat Zekrom without having to catch the bastard, but that appears to have been a lie. So with a bit of Pokehex magic, I mark the encounter as completed, I refight the boss, and he's still here. I guess I'll go grab the Master Ball out of storage. Oh, that appears to have done it. Zekrom is kind of still awkwardly just standing in the room, but my battle with N begins. I start off with Madame Medusa, as N leads in with Reshiram, who rather unceremoniously also gets one-shot by an Earthquake from Madame Medusa. Talk about your underwhelming legendary duo, huh? With our powerful Femme Fatale proving that Crocodile was the true Gen 5 legendary, she grabs her first Moxie Boost, and then a second, as the second Earthquake on the following turn defeats N's Vanillix, before a third Earthquake takes out N's Klinklang. Wait, no, that's Zoroark. But finally, out fourth for N is his Caracosta, which has that dreaded Sturdy ability, as well as the deadly Water typing. So it's time to swap out Madame Medusa for Yzma, who handily tanks a Waterfall on the swap, even getting some Rocky Helmet chip. A Toxic on the next turn hits, and reveals a second Waterfall from the Ancient Tortoise, causing more Rocky Helmet chip, and then Toxic damage. On the following turn, it's a Protect from Yzma for more Toxic chip, before a Brick Break on the following turn can guarantee the KO. Out fifth for N is his real Klinklang, so it's a swap into Madame Medusa on a Thunderbolt for a free switch. Oh, fuck, that's not Thunderbolt! But it also isn't a crit. Thank God. With that minor heart attack overcome, it's an Earthquake on Klinklang's recharge turn to get a final Moxie boost, before N's final Pokemon, Archeops, comes in, to go down to a final crunch from Madame Medusa. And that last Moxie boost was definitely needed for the one-shot. even though a non-boosted Crunch still would have knocked the Archeops below half health, activating the bird's horrible defeatist ability. But, with undefeated, the only person left standing in the Team Plasma Castle to challenge me is Getsis. But hopefully, my plan for victory is more than enough to carry me through the final stage. I face off against Getsis with Madame Medusa, as he leads off with his Kofagrigus. It's in this battle that Madame Medusa is able to take a leaf out of Scar's book and lead off with a taunt, preventing Getsis from starting off with a Toxic. Madame Medusa is able to hit a hard Earthquake, leaving Kofagrigus with less than half their health, before she's able to tank a Shadow Ball quite well, even avoiding the special defense drop. Medusa is then able to finish off the Mummy Pokemon, getting her first, and most necessary, Moxie Boost. Necessary because out next for Getsis is his ace, Hydreigon, who threatens with an extremely powerful Focus Blast. But, with a Held Dragon Tooth and a Moxie Boosted Dragon Claw, Medusa has 9 out of 16 damage rolls that will one-shot the beast. I have Madame Medusa fire off her Dragon Claw, and she decides that she's not leaving it to chance, as she hits the bastard with a critical hit. Now at +2, Madame Medusa is strong enough to even one-shot the bulky Seismitoad who comes out next with a +2 Earthquake, and for Getsis, that's all she wrote, as Madame Medusa is able to finish her sweep of the Madman's team. I've put an end to a villainous plot, and I've helped a poor brainwashed kid find his sense of self. But the last I checked, neither of those things has ever been an indicator for the end of a Nuzlocke. On we go! I get Maleficent up to her Hydreigon peak potential. We meet one of 2 new encounters, my Carvanha with a neutral, serious nature that I named Darla, who quickly evolves into a Sharpedo, and a second beefy powerhouse Pupitar, who has the sassy rage special defense and lowered speed nature that I named Queen of Hearts, who quickly joins the roster in her fully evolved form as a Tyranitar. So with the team almost at our new level cap of 73, I face off in the final rival fight of the game against Charon. He once again starts off with his Lipard, rest in peace Scar, as I lead off with my Bisharp Captain Hook. Lipard starts off with a Fake Out that Captain Hook ignores with Inner Focus to set up a Sword Stance. I then have Captain Hook use a second Sword Stance as Lipard hits a weak Aerial Ace. With the setup complete, Captain Hook begins his debut sweep with an Iron Head for Lipard, a Night Slash for Simisage, and an Iron Head for Imbor, which was actually going to be the turn where Captain Hook met his unfortunate end, but he gets a flinch from Iron Head. Charon doesn't even bother healing now that Imbor's Sash is used up, so a second Iron Head finishes off the fire-fighting boar. Since Captain Hook is still alive when Charon sends in his Gigalith, I hard swap into Yzma, as Charon wastes a turn setting up Stealth Rocks. A critical hit Brick Break from Yzma brings Gigalith to a sturdy, before hitting back with a fairly hard Earthquake. The Gemstone Pokemon recovers a small fraction of health with leftovers, before a second Brick Break brings him down. Out next for Charon is his Unfezant, so it's a hard swap from Yzma back to Captain Hook, who takes both Stealth Rock and an Air Slash fairly well. On the next turn, it's an Iron Defense for Captain Hook, as Charon has his Unfezant use U-turn, doing decent damage and swapping into his Haxorus. I have Captain Hook go for another Sword Stance, as I believe that Charon's going to go for a Dragon Dance, but Captain Hook barely ends up surviving a Surf from the beastly Dragon Pokemon. But with the crit avoided, my now +2 defensive and offensive Mon is able to hit a hard Iron Head to take out the Haxorus before one final Iron Head finishes off Unfezant, ends the battle, and opens my way to the final face-off with the Elite Four and the champion. So, with everything taken care of and my team set, this is the squad I'm taking into the Deadly Elite Four rematch teams. Captain Hook the Bisharp, who has the Inner Focus ability and is holding the Bright Powder with a moveset of Night Slash, Sword Stance, Iron Head, and Iron Defense. Maleficent the Hydreigon, who has the Levitate ability and is holding the Dragon Fang with a moveset of Hyper Voice, Protect, Dragon Pulse, and Flash Cannon. Yzma the Scrafty, who has the Shedskin ability and is holding the Rocky Helmet, with a moveset of Brick Break, Head Smash, Toxic, and Protect. Madame Medusa the Crocodile, who has the Moxie ability, and is holding either the Soft Sand, the Black Glasses, or a Status Berry, with a moveset of Dragon Claw, Taunt, Earthquake, and Crunch. Queen of Hearts the Tyranitar, who has the Sandstream ability and is holding either the Black Glasses, Soft Sand, or a Status Berry, with a moveset of Earthquake, Stone Edge, Payback, and Thunderwave. And lastly, Darla the Sharpedo, who has the Ruskin ability and is holding a Rostberry, with the moveset of Crunch, Waterfall, Earthquake, and Protect. With my team ready and our level cap reached, it's time for the Elite Four, Round 2. Once again, it's Caitlin off the bat, and once again, she kind of regrets her decision to fail at countering Dark types. She starts the battle off with her Musharna, as I lead in with Madame Medusa. But unfortunately for her, she literally has only Psychic-type moves on her lead Pokemon, so she has to waste her first turn swapping out into her Arenaclus, who takes the Crunch instead of Musharna, still granting Madame Medusa her first Moxie Boost, and, well, you know how that old song and dance goes. Though her Metagross does go down to an Earthquake. Some variety. Up second is Chantal, who once again leads off with her Kofagrigus, as I start off this time with Madame Medusa. On the first turn, I have Medusa go for an Earthquake, as Chantal's Cofagrigus misses their Will-O-Wisp. And with that, Madame Medusa gets to hang on to her Rossberry before finishing off the mummy Pokemon with a second Earthquake. Madame Medusa makes her Moxie boost a bit of a moot point with an amazing critical hit crunch on Chantal's Jellicent, once again avoiding the Jellyfish Pokemon's cursed body ability, which is much more important this time around as her next Pokemon comes onto the field, a Frostlass. But with Crunch still available for use, it's another one-hit KO for our run's MVP. With the only risk to our Crooked Croc taken care of, a Crunch apiece for Golurk, Chandelure, and Drifblim to finish off the second Elite Four member. Up third in the Elite Four is Grimsley, and it wasn't hubris here, I'm just a bit daft, as I totally forgot to heal Madame Medusa before the fight. The saving grace is that Grimsley doesn't start off with a Scrafty like last time, but is newly caught and trained Sharpedo. Real original guy. And with Madame Medusa's EV training for speed, she's able to outspeed the shark and get her first Moxie boost rolling with her Stab Soft Sand Earthquake. Once again, Grimsley fails to see the opportunity to reduce Madame Medusa's attack before it's too late, as he sends in his Bisharp second, only to go down to a second Earthquake. Out third is the deadly Scrafty, but it's just a Pokemon or two too late, as the +2 Earthquake is more than enough for the KO. Not to mention Grimsley's next Pokemon, his Intimidate Crocodile, who's also just a step behind. Too slow and not enough of a damage cut. Earthquake number 4 for KO number 4. Out fifth for Grimsley is one of the dark types unavailable to me in this run, Drapion, which I take out my frustrations on accordingly. Finally is Grimsley's Liepard, who as always gets in a fake out, before also going down to a 6 Earthquake. With the fodder taken care of, it's once again time for the Elite Four member who is most likely to be my undoing. The man who put an end to the life of my starter Scar. Marshall, the fighting type expert. Like last time, I'm aware that I won't be able to make it out without losing anyone. Unlike last time, I don't have a move like Fake Out to help me maneuver and plan swaps. I start off the battle with Yzma, as Marshall starts with his Breloom. On the first turn, Yzma hits a Toxic before being hit by a monstrous Sky Uppercut, living with less than a quarter of her health left. Rocky Helmet Chip and Toxic damage take effect, before Yzma uses a Protect on the following turn to ensure more Toxic damage, and to scout out the move choice. Like I'm hoping for, Breloom went for Mach Punch, so on the following turn, I swap out Yzma for Madame Medusa, who takes the Mach Punch for almost half of her health, even without the crit. Good lord, our sweeper is squishy. But with the KO seen in Sky Uppercut, Madame Medusa is able to outspeed on the following turn and get the KO with her Retaught Return. And she's even fortunate enough to miss the Effect Spore from Breloom. With her first Moxie boost achieved, Madame Medusa takes out Marshall's following Mind Shower with an Earthquake. But this time, the fighting type trainer has learned his lesson, and instead of swapping out for his highest damage Pokemon, he sends in his Sock with Sturdy, the worst possible choice for me to deal with. Knowing that regardless of damage output, Madame Medusa will have to take another hit from Sock, I resign myself to losing another friend. I hard swap from Madame Medusa and send in Yzma, who is absolutely destroyed by the incoming close combat. The play here is that Yzma is able to get rid of Sock's Sturdy due to her Rocky Helmet, and since Sock went for close combat, the Pokemon's defenses are almost completely halved. So with Yzma's sacrifice not in vain, Madame Medusa comes back onto the field to pick up her sweep where she left it off, with an Earthquake that honors her friend's sacrifice. My oldest two Pokemon, both gone to the same fighting type trainer. With Sock taken care of, Marshall's hopes for victory are dashed away, as his Throw, Conkeldurr, and Toxicroak all fall to an Earthquake apiece. The Elite Four have once again been taken care of, but this time, there's no evil crime syndicate in my way to prevent my final challenge. Alder, the champion of the Unova League. He thanks me for my help in stopping N, even if he does seem like he has a bit of a chip in his shoulder about it. But he isn't going to let that loss stop him from giving this battle everything he has, so here we go. Alder starts off the battle with his Excelgor, as I lead off with Queen of Hearts. On the first turn, his ridiculously speedy bug Pokemon launches off a formidable Focus Blast that would have destroyed Queen of Hearts in a single crit. But the Queen is able to hang on, hitting back with a Thunder Wave that will help out the next Pokemon if Queen can't finish the job. On the next turn, I'm actually surprised to see the Queen of Heart outspeed, and manage to connect with a massive Stone Edge, finishing the champion's first Pokemon in a surprising blow. Out second for Alder is his Druddigon, whose high attack stat would spell destruction for any Pokemon I tried to swap into, so I have the Queen of Hearts go for a Thunder Wave. But she's outsped and put down by a massive Stab Outrage from the Dragon Pokemon. Knowing I'll need some of my heavy hitters for later in the fight, I send in Darla next, who stalls Druddigon's second Outrage turn by using Protect, and I'm lucky enough that the Dragon Pokemon hits his Confused state this turn. Hoping to do some big damage before Darla can go down, I foolishly use Waterfall instead of Crunch, forgetting that dragons resist water. But I go unpunished, as the dragon hits itself in confusion. With that, I opt to go for Crunch on the following turn, it not being resisted and being a stab move, once again hoping not to be punished by the rough skin damage. Darla does get the KO regardless of the chip damage, and stands strong on the field as Alder sends out his third Pokemon, a Bouffalant. Knowing that Darla is likely to get knocked out by any of the Buffalo's moves, I have her do some damage with a waterfall, before the champion's Pokemon strikes hard with a super effective Mega Horn, answering the question of why Fishy is sleeping. But not without Darla getting a bit of a last laugh, as both Rough Skin damage and Sandstorm Chip brings the Buffalo lower. With 3 of my Pokemon down, and only 2 down for Alder, it's time to bring in the big guns. At this range, it's a guaranteed KO with Earthquake for Madame Medusa, giving the lovely lady her first Moxie boost. Unfortunately for Alder, he now sees a KO with Vanillux, who was unable to get the chance as the frail Ice Cream Cone falls to a Moxie-boosted Earthquake, granting a second Moxie boost to the Madam. Out 5th is Alder's Ace Volcarona, but at +2, even a neutral Earthquake is enough for the KO, which means that the champion's slow-moving Escavalier is now dead to rights as Madame Medusa ends not only the fight with the champion, but the first ever Dark-type monolock of Pokemon White. Funnily enough, Alder puts on a brave face, but the champion appears absolutely livid under the surface. Humbled by a Zealot, made obsolete in the region's moment of need by a mono Dark-type trainer, and now defeated by that same trainer while he held a largely type-advantageous team? But to my surprise, he swallows his pride and he congratulates me. He never quite loses the gleam in his eye that seems more vengeful than congratulatory, but we get my Pokemon, even those who didn't make it, into the Hall of Fame. And then Alder really surprises me with an offer to use his vacation home. I guess that I can understand his anger. I don't like to lose either, but it's nice to know that the champion of the Unova region doesn't hold a grudge. Oh. Hello there. It's you, huh? Well, I guess I never did actually make it to our fight last time around. Let's fix that.
And I can finally let my worries disappear. And all this time I spent in torture wasn't vain. The telltales were fit in the end.
After having denied someone else their second chance, I never quite believed that I deserved one of my own. But maybe it's not too late for me after all. And here we are once again. As always, a huge thank you to anyone and everyone who watched my video, much less those of you who are still listening to this windbag gush about how grateful he is. I'm already deeply into my run for Bloodborne, which as previously mentioned, will have a new challenge aspect that I don't believe I've ever seen anyone else do. In addition to this, I have been extremely pleased with the Shadow of the Erdtree, and I can happily confirm that you can in fact beat Promised Consort Radon with nothing except the Dryleaf Arts. Now I just have to do it starting from new character. I'm hoping to have my next video out by the first week of August, and with no surprise interruptions or delays, I would like to have a video each month going forward. I highly appreciate any likes on this video, and it continues to astound me that I have absolutely any subscribers at all, but please continue to do so, as it scratches my brain in this really good way. But, for now, this is Swolbi on Kenobi, signing off.